Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary to share another contemplative focus with you. And the focus that I want to share with you today is exploring sacredness, the core of our being and its connection to consciousness. What exists is truth, and what does not is illusion. Within this unity of all things, essence, also known as isness, represents the eternal ground of being as one blissful consciousness. In this realization, even what seems to be illusion is a part of the truth, for everything is one. Illusion and truth are intertwined, revealing the essence of blissful consciousness as one unified experience. And as I have said many times before, we are in this moment experiencing a life as a human being simply because it's fulfilling the primary intention in consciousness in us to fully be consciousness, to fully be itself, to fully be realized that there is nothing else. And to do that, consciousness created the relative field of experience, because without that relative field, there is no experience. So how can you have an intention and fulfill it if there's nowhere where you can have that experience? Consciousness created a playground for that experience, a playground where it can realize the truth of itself in spite of itself, you might say. It's a game. It's nothing real going on here. We are living in a process where, if you're watching this video, you're probably a meditator. If you're meditating, then you're on your way to anchoring yourself in the truth of who you are. And wherever you are in that process, you are fulfilling the primary intention that exists within you. It exists with all manifestations of consciousness. So this is what we're doing, and this is what we're speaking about right here. The core of our being and its connection to consciousness is that it is. It can't be anything else, because one unified consciousness is the ultimate truth that is everything. Everything comes from consciousness. Everything that manifests anywhere is a creation of consciousness, a conscious creation in conjunction to fulfill its primary intention to fully be itself. Very simple. And yet we get lost in our minds because our minds are madness. And that madness is more apparent today than ever before. It's quite the show these days, but really, it's always been a madness. It just didn't have the internet. We didn't have the exposure to it that we have today. So it's more apparent than ever if you're a meditator and you see what's going on in the world, the confusion, the polarization that's happening with worldwide today. And it's not something that just happened. It's something that's always been there, because only a minority of the population of this planet are meditators. Of course, I don't know that for sure anymore. Maybe it's shifting now, but that's been the case historically. And because that's the case, if you're not meditating, if you're not creating the balance within yourself so that the illusion of your ego gives way to love-based being, then you're not going to have the awareness that's necessary for you to realize that the core of your being is consciousness. And without that balance, you're just lost in the illusion of fear-based living, where you are separate from all and everything around you. But we can't be separate because if everything is consciousness, where is there really separation? There's no real separation. There's only an apparent separation. We experience separation through our physicality, because physicality, manifestation would not be here without the illusion of separation, because my sitting here and you sitting where you are would not be an experience that could happen without the illusion of separation. So it's not good, it's not bad, it simply is in this moment for all of us. It's a happening of consciousness that it may fulfill its primary intention. I could go on in the loop like this because that's really what's going on. But for me, in my experience, I know when I first began my meditative journey, there was a profound sense of separation. There was a profound sense of self-judgment, and I was still sold on the fundamental experience of separation, in the sense that I was struggling to become something that I thought I was not. That all my data, all my upbringing, all the information that I attached myself to in my years of this life defined me as someone separate from you, someone separate from everything. And in order to reconcile my experiences where that was not the case, where there was oneness, where there was blissful consciousness, and to try to get back to that as a steady state, that was my driving ambition, if you will, for many, many, many years. Still is. But except for now, I do have that constant connection. I have that constant experience. It's not like anything I ever thought it would be, but it's there, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful, and it's a resting place from all these years of meditation and developing the balance and exploring myself with such contemplations as this, where the words can be very confusing sometimes. Isness, essence, blissful consciousness. And as the mind is trying to comprehend what all this is, which it can never really do because it's not in that experience, it cannot go there because it's part of the illusion. It's part of the illusion of separation. It's part of the illusion of being a human being separate from everything around you. So the mind is just expressing the madness that it has inherited from its position in the illusion of the human experience. So there we are, and we're having this little chat, if you will, this little coming together over this exploring sacredness topic. And really, everything is sacred because everything is consciousness. And you can take that any way you want. There's been many traditional belief systems that have incorporated that to some degree or another. And yet to realize that, to live it, to actually have that experience of being consciousness, that is what we're really after. And how can an illusion create something truthful? The core of our being and its connection to consciousness simply is, and that's how it happens. When we have worn away everything in us that would maintain the separation from the truth, when we're ready to give it up, that's when it happens fully and completely. And until then, we continue to evolve to that point, and that so that we may conclude our journey as a human being in full realization of the primary intention that we began this journey with, to fully be ourselves, to fully be what is the truth, because there is nothing but the truth happening here or anywhere. It's just a game, it's just a show, and it's to a mind which wants structure and control and ownership. It's something it can never quite grasp, because the truth is just the opposite of all of that. The truth is chaos. Everything is happening with no particular reason, no particular goal or aim, because there's nothing but consciousness being itself. So whatever experience it's just creating for the fun of it. It doesn't need structure, doesn't need control. It doesn't need any of the things that our ego always struggles to create and maintain. Which is why the human experience is full of misery and suffering, because we spend our lives trying to be something that isn't real. And because it's not real, reality keeps seeping into our lives in ways that upset us. It destroys the structure that we think is so important. It destroys the control that we think is so important. It destroys all the fear-based illusions that we so desperately cling to, because we think without that, something terrible will happen. We will die. And in a sense that could be true, in the sense that your human experience may end. And yet that's the beginning of the truthful experience that you came here with and left here differently, left here with some growth, some progress towards the ultimate realization from this game, where you have mastered the game, where you have mastered the human experience and realized yourself fully as the consciousness that all and everything is, that you are. And this is the game we're playing, this is the experience that we're having for that purpose. And of course, you look at the world today and through all our mental concepts, it's a madness, total madness today. And it's more and more apparent than ever before, which is great, because it's not different, it's not new, it's just expressing itself more and more, because we're coming to some kind of a point in terms of the collective consciousness where something's got to go. And what that will be, I have no idea, and I don't care, because I'm not going to change it. I will simply do what I do now. I will simply meditate, simply to keep my balance, and in keeping my balance, I contribute to the collective balance, which will help enable the collective population of humanity to go beyond its boundaries and to realize more and more of the truth of who and what it all is. So that to me is the best contribution I can make to humanity, is to simply go beyond my own and to realize the core of my being and its connection to consciousness, and to have that experience moment to moment to moment at some level, which I do, and at some level that is shared with all that I come in contact with. Everyone, everywhere I go, I'm sharing my being. The core of my being is going with me, of course, and at some level it's having some impact, and so in a positive way. What more could I do, and what more would I want to do to be a human being helping other human beings in this world today, especially today where it's really getting crazy, huh? So that's what I really wanted to share with you today, exploring sacredness. Everything is sacred. And the core of our being and its connection to consciousness is that it simply is. And it can never be anything other than that. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. You can take it easy now. It's all good. And I will be with you. I'm not sure when my next sharing will be, I think next Monday is fine because we're in between programs right now. And then there'll probably be another break. So until then, I wish you well, and I thank you so much for watching and being here with me today. Until then, I bid you adieu, and I look forward to being back here to share more with you.